This is Digivation Network.
Hello and welcome to the program Digivation Network. Here we x-ray issues and development in business, innovation and ICT. Again, you're warmly welcome. I am Bayero Agabi. Don't forget you can also be part of the show by subscribing to our YouTube channel, youtube.com/Digivation Network, and other social media platforms.
This is Digivation Network.
This is Digivation Network, Africa's best digital and innovation news platform on television, and I am Bayero Agabi. Today we have an array of issues and development and news that will excite you. But first, issues and development that made news in the past 1 week.
President Muhammadu Buhari has unveiled the new look of the redesigned naira note on Wednesday at the State House, Abuja, before the Federal Executive Council meeting, as proposed by the Central Bank of Nigeria. The Central Bank of Nigeria has earlier announced in October its plan to redesign all major naira notes and announced that it will redesign the naira note in order to control the challenges facing the amount of currency in circulation. The governor of the Central Bank of Nigeria, Godwin Emefiele, was in attendance during the unveiling ceremony and appealed to the members of the public to debunk insinuations that the unveiling targets any Nigerian, as there is no need to perpetuate such information. Mr. Emefiele mentions that there will be heavy restriction on the volume of cash people can withdraw over the counter, as it monitors the purpose of any heavy transactions. The 1,000 naira note has a blue look, 500 naira in green, and 200 naira in red, while the Apex Bank says it will redesign the note after every 5 to 8 years.
The Minister of Communications and Digital Economy, Ali Pantami, says the Nigerian Postal Service NYPost has been onboarded into about 3 subsidiaries to ensure effective operation and to make it more viable as a revenue-generating agency of government. Pantami disclosed this Thursday at the Budget Defense meeting of the Joint Senate and House of Representatives Committees on Communication, Telecommunication, and ICT and Cyber Crimes with the Ministry at the Senate wing of the National Assembly. The minister told the Joint Committee that NYPost has already been onboarded into Property and Development Company, Transport and Logistics, and Microfinance Bank. Pantami disclosed that a sum of 10 billion naira will be invested in the new NYPost to get it started.
You chair a committee jointly with the chair of communications. You even push and insisted that we should ensure that the companies take up immediately so that government will be able to make use of them. And this investment is to be done by the Ministry of Finance. So they are to manage the fund. And NYPost has a power also of supervision. That is why even on the board of the companies, NYPost is active. The postmaster general of the NYPost is part of the board. Board members are also part of the board. So the investment is for finance. Based on the law, Ministry of Finance has power to invest in order to generate more revenue for government.
An obviously shocked Joint Committee questioned the process of arriving at an onboarded NYPost as well as the 10 billion naira for funding it.
Laws are laws, and if we pass this law in terms of money, it becomes legal. Do you create money to issues that has not been legally domiciled by National Assembly? That's another issue.
You oversee by NYPost or this subsidiary.
As Minister of Finance,
what role will NYPost play? We originally amend the law to empower NYPost, not to give too much power to one subsidiary and kill NYPost itself. That's what was not our intention.
Chairman, the same that created Galaxy Backbone, the same that created Niche Comsat. Secondly, let me finish. When you ask questions, sir, allow me to respond. Secondly, part of our recommendation to the Joint Committee during public hearing that these companies should be accommodated in the bill so that they will have this power to exist by law. They are in government as a policy, but we officially submitted in writing that this bill should make a provision for these two companies to be accommodated so that they will be recognized by law. We submitted that in writing.
In a related development, the Senate Committee on Appropriation received the report of 4 subcommittees ahead of the deadline of Friday, 18 November for them to do so. The 4 subcommittees that presented their report are those in health, ethics, privileges, and public petitions, aviation, and that on federal character. Aija Memuna Abubakar, the board chair of NYPost, representing the Honorable Minister of Communications and Digital Economy, Professor Isa Ali Pantami, had just concluded Women's Tech and the Nigeria Females in STEM, NIGFI STEM Week at Abuja, Nigeria. Themed A Rise into the Challenges of Nigeria Through Technological Tools, the 5-day trainings, workshops and summit has females from various tech MDAs, Women Association and Work Life. Also present at the summit were great men and women, the MD and CEO of Nesene Solar, Engineer Jafaru Mahmoud, the CEO of Digivation Network, Bayero Agabi, MD of Tech Life with Ugo, Success Jumbo, CEO of Sisik NG, Victor P. Idono, Tochukwu Michael Ositadima, and several other dignitaries from all across the tech industry. Engaged with various tech skills learning, the women had swell time to fabricate, manufacture, and develop technologies like solar panels, biogas digesters, solar food dryers, and also learn digital literacy with cybersecurity essentials with Cisco Academy. Engaged with various tech skill learnings, the women had swell time to fabricate, manufacture, and develop technologies like solar panels, biogas digesters, solar food dryers, and also learnt digital literacy with cybersecurity essentials with Cisco Academy.
President Muhammadu Buhari has unveiled the new look of the redesigned naira note on Wednesday at the State House, Abuja, before the Federal Executive Council meeting, as proposed by the Central Bank of Nigeria. The Central Bank of Nigeria has earlier announced in October its plan to redesign all major naira notes and announced that it will redesign the naira note in order to control the challenges facing the amount of currency in circulation. The governor of the Central Bank of Nigeria, Godwin Emefiele, was in attendance during the unveiling ceremony and appealed to the members of the public to debunk insinuations that the unveiling targets any Nigerian, as there is no need to perpetuate such information. Mr. Emefiele mentions that there will be heavy restriction on the volume of cash people can withdraw over the counter, as it monitors the purpose of any heavy transactions. The 1,000 naira note has a blue look, 500 naira in green, and 200 naira in red, while the Apex Bank says it will redesign the note after every 5 to 8 years.
Share and subscribe to this channel, www.youtube.com/Digivation Network.
Agabi, welcome you to this new ride, a digital ride that takes you into the lifestyle experience of innovation, tech impact, and new business frontiers. This is Digivation Network. On a weekly basis, we keep you well informed of developments and trends. Now the tech ecosystem is impacting politics, business, public and private enterprise management, plus how the new digital life can transform your business. I am Bayero Agabi. Join us. Thanks for being with us on this show, Digivation Network. For details, please join us via our YouTube channel, youtube.com/Digivation Network. In this special edition, we also have a special report that details about tech trends, innovation and development across Nigeria, leading to the explosion of ICT development in Nigeria. If you like, you can call it the explosion of the digital economy. Well, I know you will enjoy it and you will get educated.
Hello everyone, this is a popular computer village where consumer electronics are sold. This is one of the biggest IT commercial hubs located in Ikeja, Lagos, Nigeria.
During the 2019 pandemic that disrupted growth in several sectors, the consumer electronic market was resilient, even with the intermittent closure of physical stores worldwide. Sit-at-home policy increased demand for greater comfort and security through smart devices, which drove growth in the CE industry.
During COVID, people are at home now, and with cell phone. During COVID, I sell more than millions of naira. I put my things at home, and they are ordering it. People are buying it. Then this dollar rate is not like this.
Consumer electronics forms a multi-billion-dollar industry, steadily progressing with new product line towards changing lifestyles. As an extremely competitive market, there are always new players entering the market, particularly from China, a global hub for manufacturing products.
There are various factors. There are many factors that affect consumer electronics, price of consumer electronics. You have to ask yourself, the customs, the clearing of those things when they're coming. I'm just starting from the middle. From the middle. So when you clear them goods from the price last year, I don't think it's the same price this year. The dollar, naira, the disparity. Then also look at, now go to the factories. Discover that they had shortage of chips. Right from the time of COVID, many companies in China shut down, so they couldn't have enough chips to produce these devices. Almost every electronic device today works on a chip or chips. So if the chips are not available, that means the fewer ones, the price will go up and it will affect the finished products. So when you come in to the market, so what the phone you bought last year, maybe 100,000 naira, and look at the dollar rates last year, look at it today, you discover that disparity is quite huge. So that impacts it. At the same time, we don't manufacture some of these things. If we have the manufacturing plants here, it will help us to do what? To crash down the price of these things. The China where these things are produced, for instance, if a phone is produced at the rate of 50,000 naira, before it will go through the value chain to come here, the price will get into 120,000. So if we're able to produce here, and who says we can't produce? We can produce if we have stable electricity. We have the best brains that can help us to do these things. Then some of the raw materials, we can get them here. So who says we can't do it? No economy that produces or manufactures that has everything. I'll give you an instance. Some of the chips that Apple uses, some companies who call their competition produce some of those chips they use. But they know they're called competing, because they need those things. So someone can knock down something in China, buy the brain in UK or Europe, put them together. What you know is they have a finished product that is, that is cheap.
Things are very, very expensive. All these phones, accessories, they're not doing it in Nigeria here. They import everything. Before you struggle money to import your goods, to send money to get goods, if you want to clear it, exchange rates, they'll say the cargo money is too high. All those things to be on the phones things, you understand? But most is because of dollar rates.
Nigeria cannot buy a standard that Americans or Europeans use as a new brand phones or, So that is the reason why Nigerians buy Tokumbo phones, because of their standard quality.
Consumer electronics refers to as the entire range of products containing electronic circuit boards, intended for personal or non-commercial use. However, smartphones have been seen leading in consumer electronics and are the largest segment in the CE market as part of our daily lives. It is hard to imagine a world without it.
Mostly, let me use our phone as an example. Most things we use here in Nigeria, most of them are not Nigerian made phone. So, like our phone, like sometimes it deals with dollar. Dollar should rise, the phone price will rise, and it should come down.
Last month, for the rate of, I got one at that last month for the rate of 65,000. Now when I went back for the phone again, it was about like 70-something thousand.
If you import something from outside country to go and clear it in airports, before I do clear 30 kg. How much? It's not up to 5,000, and now you'll be hearing 30-something thousand, 50,000. Check it now. Do everybody know what is happening in this country? Dollar, and fuel. Oh my God.
To be candid here, there's really a lot of changes, a lot of difference, and the governments are not really trying to be candid here, because you can't compare the prices we fix all these parts then last year compared to the prices we are fixing them now.
The Nigerian consumer electronics market had total revenue of $4.9 billion in 2020, representing a compound annual growth rate of 4% between 2016 and 2020. Sales of consumer electronics through online pure play channels have been on the rise for a while in Nigeria, reflecting a global trend in consumer behavior. Nigeria is one of the most prosperous consumer markets in Africa, and for brands such as financial institutions and media agencies, with estimation of about 198 million people, close to 3 times the size of South Africa's population, and as the largest population in Africa. Lagos alone houses over 21 million people and is Africa's largest city by population. According to research conducted by Business Chief, 87% of the trading in Nigeria happens in informal markets. Informal trade is not tracked or included in overall GDP calculation, which is the gross domestic product calculations, which means Nigeria's economy is more prosperous than GDP alone can represent. According to research conducted by Business Chief, 87% of the trading in Nigeria happens in informal markets. Informal trade is not tracked or included in overall gross domestic product calculations, which means Nigeria's economy is more prosperous than GDP alone can represent. Today, as the Nigeria economy continues to flourish and the population gets older, their buying power will continue to increase, and companies looking to expand could benefit from learning more about this powerful set of consumers. At the moment, Samsung is doing pay small with Tecno, with Intel Core, with the launch on Buy Now, Pay Later plan, will make life easier for new and existing customers. No doubt that the recent hike in dollar is making sales on CU unbearable. The Central Bank of Nigeria seems not to have figured out the tolls on Nigerians. With a new development on redesigning the naira note, what is our fate? Share and subscribe to this channel, www.youtube.com/Digivation Network.
This is Digivation Network.
Data privacy, yeah, I think I do.
Data privacy, I think in my own understanding, means that whatever you're sharing across the internet should be private.
Everyone knows what privacy is. Then data privacy should be somewhat exclusively holding people's data confidential. Yeah, so let me put it that way, so to speak. So holding people's information confidential, in confidentiality, so to speak, yeah.
Data privacy, to my own knowledge, is data privacy is what you have in stock for yourself, like what you store for yourself for future purposes, what you have in your own self from the data from when you were born to this life till when you are matured. Everything about you privately is something about data privacy. I think so.
Data privacy, for me, I can say data privacy is a personal personal information that belongs to he or she that should not be given out to anybody unless the person say it should be given out. All right. From you, maybe like when you are on Facebook, your password, maybe when you went to bank, your account number, your BVN, maybe when you are on Instagram, your password, so on and so forth, data privacy. For me, I can't say, I will say that is all about data privacy.
Nobody. I just think my data should just be sent across to whoever I want to send data to at that moment without any other person be private to it.
Since we are governed by the government, and whatever we do right now, like the banking sector and some other things, the government have access to every other thing. So for me, I think the government should have access to data privacy.
Only the government should be the one to have access to my data, but to some limits, actually. Like, if it's my personal details, my data, like personal details, so it's fine to allow government to have access to it. But when it comes to WhatsApp or my personal chats, I don't think anybody should have access to that.
Well, I mean, I don't want to be pessimistic, but I feel that it should be safer for the government to have our data in their database. But anybody can and anybody should, but with the way the situation of the country, I don't think for the government parastatal, I do not know how much of a data holding platform they have. But for the private sectors, I think they would have done better. But you know, for private organizations, they can close up at any time. Yeah. So, like I said, I don't want to be pessimistic. But the government, if you ask me, the government should be able to do that better.
For me, I will feed the private sector. For me, I'm not okay with me giving my information to the government. But also, the government is okay. It's also important for the information, because something like me going to Google and do my PVC, the government will also have the my information, maybe my address, my phone number, and so on and so forth. There's still information, so government can still go on that. But something like bank account, so on and so forth, I don't know with the government. Government is, yes, let me say government is our governor, people that govern us, but I'm not okay with that, me giving my information to the government, better to the private sector.
For the deceased person, I think if the next of kin is active, I think it should be passed to the next of kin. The next of kin to continue from where the deceased person has left from. But it's just some people have opinions and some other believe actually. But for me, I personally think a deceased person that is gone. So it should pass to the next of kin.
This is AIT Infotech Network, reaching you from Freetown in Sierra Leone,
Accra, the Ghanaian capital, Addis Ababa in Ethiopia, Johannesburg in South Africa.
We are in Cairo in Egypt,
Tunis, the Tunisian capital,
Cape Town in South Africa,
reaching you from Dubai, Hanover in Germany,
live from Chicago, Las Vegas in the United States of America, Kuala Lumpur in Malaysia. We are in Beijing, China, in London, England. I am Bayero Agabi. Join us. And now to our top 5, which feature stories that made headlines for the week.
The internet brings a major revolution in the world of digitalization. As the world evolves, more people familiarize themselves with the technicalities required to access the internet, ranging from people in the developed and developing countries. Today on our top 5, we are going to be looking at the top 5 African countries with the highest number of internet users in 2022. The internet has a variety of information and communication facilities, and its adoption has steadily increased over the years, with Africa as one of the continents expected to see a major economic growth due to technology. Our number 5 for today is Ethiopia. Ethiopia is a country in the northeastern part of Africa, popularly known as the Horn of Africa. Ethiopia's total population was 119.3 million in January 2022. There were 29.83 million internet users in Ethiopia in January 2022, while the internet penetration rate stood at 25% of the total population at the start of the year. The 4th African country is Morocco. Morocco is the westernmost country in the Maghreb region of North Africa. Morocco's population in 2022 is estimated to be 37.79 million. There were 31.59 million internet users in Morocco in January 2022, and the internet penetration rate stood at 84.1% of the total population at the start of the year. And the 3rd African country is South Africa. South Africa is located at the southernmost region of Africa. As of 2022, South Africa's population increased and counted approximately 60.6 million inhabitants in total. There were 41.19 million internet users in South Africa in January 2022, and the internet penetration rate stood at 68.2% of the total population at the start of the year. The second country with the highest number of internet users, Egypt. Egypt is a country located in the northeastern corner of Africa. As of 2022, the aggregate Egyptian population stood at 102.88 million inhabitants. There were 75.66 million internet users in Egypt in January 2022, while the internet penetration rate stood at 71.9% of the total population at the start of the year, while the number one with the highest number of internet users 2022 is Nigeria. Nigeria is located in Western Africa on the Gulf of Guinea. Nigeria's mixed economy is the largest in Africa, and as of 2022, Nigeria's population was estimated at around 216.7 million. There were 109.2 million internet users in Nigeria in January 2022, and our internet penetration rate stood at 51% of the total population at the start of the year. And these are the top 5 African countries with the highest number of internet users 2022. Don't forget to join us next time for another interesting edition of Top 5.
That is the show for the week. Until next week, please reach us via our YouTube channel, youtube.com/Digivation Network. I am Bayero Agabi. Peace.